It's rivalry night as the Dogs travel to Lake City to take on the Columbia Tigers in the battle for the Old Oaken Bucket. At Live Oak Jewelry, we want to be your diamond source. With relationships with brokers dating back over 50 years, the LOJ can offer you selections and price options few can compare with. Several diamonds are delivered overnight for your review, and once you select a diamond and setting, Live Oak Jewelry completes everything else in-house. It's all at Live Oak Jewelry, proudly serving the Suwannee County area for over 77 years.
Rapid Fiber Internet's locally owned and operated, powered by Suwannee Valley Electric Co-op. Our local employees are dedicated to providing a world-class customer experience to each of our Suwannee Valley Electric members. Make the switch today to Rapid Fiber Internet's 100% fiber to the home internet system. To learn more about Rapid Fiber Internet, visit rapid-fiber.com. Again, that's rapid-fiber.com or call 866-64-RAPID.
Coach's Corner, brought to you by Bean Painting, serving the community for over 30 years. Licensed and insured, family owned and operated. Remember, it hasn't been painted till it's bean painting.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dog Ball on a Friday night. It's Wayne Luttrell along with the head coach of the Suwannee Bulldogs, Kyler Hall. And tonight, the Suwannee Bulldogs in the jungle in Lake City to take on the Columbia High Tigers. Coach, before we talk about that, let's talk about last week. The preseason kickoff classic, Bishop Kenny, and unfortunately we came up on the short end of things. Your thoughts on last Friday night?
Well, good thing it didn't count for anything. You get a good look at a team that threw a lot at us offensively, defensively, very sound to what they do. So, very well-coached team. Mm-hmm. They're same class as us. I believe they're in the same region. So, a little bit of look and a preview maybe of down the road, but all in all, did some okay things, made some big plays early, had a much better start than what we had, traditionally had kind of at the end of last year and even in the spring game where we didn't start very well. But we were turned open to kickoff, had an interception early, but never really found our rhythm offensively, couldn't get off the field on third downs, had some silly penalties, some undisciplined penalties. So a lot of things to fix and correct. But the good thing, they were all correctable and fixable, and we've addressed and worked on those things this week. And it's been a good week of practice, a very physical week of practice. So now looking forward to coming out tonight in a game that you should have no problem being motivated for, Battle of the Bucket. But other than that, last week is behind us. We watched the film, corrected, and now we look to come out and play much better tonight.
Well, you talk about that start. It doesn't get any more electric than, what was it? I don't know what the official yard. I said 95-yard kick return for a touchdown, and so nice to have MJ back and healthy.
Yep. You see the type of playmaking ability that he has. He was showing that last year early on in the season. So good to have him back healthy. And the kickoff, the special teams game last week was really the area that I was, I think, the most concerned with, just because we hadn't had a ton of live looks at it. But we executed perfectly, had a great blocking scheme, no undisciplined blocks behind the player in the back. And then MJ, you give him a crease in the seam, he's going to hit it, and had a nice stiff arm and got all the way to the end zone. That was a great start, and hopefully that's not the last of those this season. Yeah,
follow that up. Bishop Kenny gets the ball, and they go on a time-consuming long drive, which the good news is we didn't let him in the end zone, forced him to a field goal, but they made that 42-yarder, and it made it 7-3. Then we go 3 and out. They get the ball back, and then one of the highlights of the game, we had that interception by Fryer, and I thought for a second he was going to return it to the house.
Close.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
But we had to settle for a field goal there, and from that point, I mean, we just couldn't get the first-string offense cranking.
No, we didn't, and that's a situation where, we get an interception, we have the momentum. That's an opportunity to go up 14-3 at that point and put them in the hole and, get some momentum going. I love field goals, but we've got to have 6 points there. And and we tell these guys it's more of a mentality. When you get down inside the red zone and the goal line, we've got to punch it in. And so didn't do it, but, there were some areas that had we, had this block and ran this route the right way, we could have capitalized and got 6. But like you said, from that point, never really got back on track. Just couldn't get in the rhythm, throwing the ball, running the ball, which the weeks leading up in practice, I believe we had good weeks, but now we've got to transfer that to what we do on Friday nights, and got a great opportunity to do that tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But, you got to get some offense rolling. That puts so much pressure on the defense to maintain. And eventually they broke down, and it led to a BK victory. But the other thing is MJ Rosin, being as electric as he is, he's got to touch the football.
For sure. You take a kid like MJ, you look at Coy Fryer, Lopez, our tight ends. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have the capability of making big plays and first downs, solid hands. Look in the backfield with Lou Jack and Jadarius Horn, Freddie Cooks. So we have ability and playmakers there. We've just got to give them good opportunities to showcase that. And we got to make sure that we're doing all the small details within the play each and every time. So, again, you're typically going to see some of those that classic, letdowns and mistakes, but also some things that you can build off of. So when we went back and watched the film, we saw how close we were, but now we've got to go and do those things tonight.
I'm assuming it was beneficial to have the kids watch the film and learn,
for sure.
Not only, out there sweating on the field, but to see the mistakes and then work on them.
Yeah, for sure. We have our regular copy that we have from the press box, but now having our drone footage, man, that shows everything, and it's such a great view. So you can see how close you are to a sack, and how if you would have stepped with the correct foot, you get the block. Or if the running back just hits the hole the way he's supposed to instead of dancing in the backfield, that's probably going to spring for a big gain or a touchdown. So the film is definitely beneficial, and film is more accessible now than ever before. I mean, every kid can watch it right there on their phone from the Huddle app. Yep. Back then, it was either VHS or way back, before it was hard to get film or watch film. So there's no excuse to be able to learn and educate yourself and correct yourself, and as coaches being able to teach them how to watch film. So that's a big part of what we do.
Yeah. Well, the good news, as you mentioned, this one didn't count.
That's right.
So we're 0-0 heading into the regular season now. And, boy, I'll tell you what, it doesn't start much tougher than the Oak and Bucket Classic at Columbia High School.
No, it doesn't.
We'll be back to talk about those Tigers right after this timeout. You're listening to Coach's Corner at Suwannee Bulldog Football here on RiverCountrySports.com.
Need to paint? Call the pros at Charles Bean Painting. They'll paint it, they'll have it looking good. Whether it's outside your home or business or inside, they do texturing, drywall repair, plus pressure cleaning. Call for a free estimate. 386-209-7381. Licensed and insured, family owned and operated, serving the area over 30 years. Charles Bean Painting, LLC. Remember, it hasn't been painted till it's Bean Painting. 209-7381.
Back here on Coach's Corner, Suwannee Bulldog Football here on a Friday night. Thanks for tuning in to RiverCountrySports.com. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell every Bulldog you know, and maybe even some that are on the fence. We'll make them dog ball fans. Just tune in to RiverCountrySports.com. Wayne Luttrell, the head coach of the Suwannee Bulldogs, Kyler Hall, and Coach, we're in the jungle tonight. The Columbia High Tigers, this has been a preseason kickoff classic the last 2 years. And, of course, this rivalry dates back to 1927 and the Oak and Bucket to 1951. I'm glad to have them win, lose, or draw back on the regular season schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a game that needs to be played. It's been very one-sided for way too long now. Yeah. So we've got to be able to, one, just get back to being competitive. 2 years ago when we brought it back as a classic, it was a close game. Last year, we had some mental mistakes early. They jump out to a big lead. So this is a game, the start is always very important. That first quarter is usually going to tell a lot. So we've got to come out poised. It's going to be, should be an electric environment over there. They're going to be jacked up to, keep the Oak and Bucket over there. We want to bring it back. You got the town's close, and a lot of our players know their players, and vice versa. So there's a lot of blood there, and a lot of excitement leading up to this game. And for us, to start the regular season with a game like this is good because we've talked about our schedule and what lies ahead. So we might as well go ahead and get used to this type of game and
jump in the fire.
and setting. And again, you're playing for something. You're playing for the old Oaken Bucket, which a lot of these kids have never heard of it.
Yeah,
so,
or certainly never seen it.
Never seen it. So want to bring that back, and it's going to take our absolute best tonight. They're a very talented team, but excited to come over here tonight and get it going.
Yeah, the last Suwannee win in this series, 2007. That was a 14-7 win. Last regular season game with these guys, Columbia won 49-7, and the year before that, 48-0.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to be competitive, nice to get a win, but if we just show up and play dog ball,
right,
we're in it.
Well, the biggest thing, we want to see improvement, and we've got to see improvement from last week. We talked about being competitive, and when you do that, you give yourself a chance to win. But if we go out and we blow mistakes and we lose our confidence, then that's what's led to those big deficits that we just talked about.
Yep.
So I believe in our guys. I believe that their ability to get these things done and go out and compete physically, it's there. But you look at some of these younger guys, this will be a tough environment, the first really tough environment that they've stepped to at an away game on a Friday night, whether it be sophomores or some of the upperclassmen that are starting. This is going to be big. They're going to be fired up and physically ready to play. So we've got to come out from the kickoff or kickoff return or whatever it is and play our assignments, play physically and mentally tough, yep, and then give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter to be able to win the game.
Yeah, they're going to be bigger. They're going to be physical. They're going to have more depth. And we know all that going in, but they can only put 11 on the field at one time. And you got to stay away from the big mistake.
Yep.
Coach Allen's squad's going to be set. They're going to be solid. They're going to be coached well. I do understand that they've got an athlete at quarterback that's going to be elusive. And that's one thing that scares me a little bit about him getting loose and just ad-libbing.
Yeah. He was one of their top returning receivers. Their starting quarterback, had an injury, so
right,
he's out for this one. But that kid, he can throw it. I mean, he's an athlete. He can scramble and extend the play. And I was thinking as we were, just getting ready for this week and just then going down the schedule, we're going to play a lot of dual threat type quarterbacks. So this is going to be our first look at how we contain him. He's going to get some yards. Those things are going to happen, but you got to eliminate the big plays and the big touchdowns. And when you got him, corralled up and in your arms, you got to get him down.
Get him on the ground.
It's probably not going to be a big hit because he's so elusive, but get him on the ground, wrap up, let the rest of the dogs get there and get him on the ground. But that's going to be key just because of the dual threat that he brings to the game. And they're big and physical up front, big tight end, good receivers. So it's a tall task all across the board, but again, looking at the preparation, for the rest of the year, this is what we have to get used to seeing.
Yeah, sounds like a typical Tiger team.
Tell
me about the film. Last week they played Bradford County, which
yep,
Tornado's no slouch. But
yeah,
so they came up on the short end of things. What did you see on film from them?
A lot of good players. First and foremost, that stood out. A very physical game. Both defenses, very stingy. Columbia up front is just typical Columbia. They're big, they're athletic, they play downhill. So their front four is where that line of scrimmage is where that's going to be where I think the game is determined. And they're going to get some, they're going to get some plays, but we've got to consistently be able to move the ball. And even if we don't, score in every drive or anything like that, but at least try to flip the field position, in the series with a kick instead of a turnover. So things like that, just playing the game. And I think that's the big area that we have to be able to settle into is just play the game. So let's say somebody returns open to kickoff, good or bad, you got to come out and play the next play. There's a lot of game that's ahead of you. You got to respond, keep your cool. So we've got to be more even-keeled throughout, and that's challenging to do, especially in a game like this.
Yeah. But
in order for us to compete and get it done, that's what it's going to call for.
Yeah, and there's going to be those ups and downs in a football game, and it happens. We look at Bishop Kenny and how they responded after the kick return for a touchdown. So,
yep,
just whatever happens, don't let it get to you. Good, bad, indifferent. Just keep playing the next play.
Yep,
yeah,
and that's a big part of it. The game is so mental, and looking at just if we correct, the times that we jumped off sides and we had some silly penalties, reacting. I've told our guys they're not going to see the first incident. If somebody pushes you late or hits you, they're typically not going to see that. But if you respond, then they're going to see that. So we've got to clean those areas up, play composed within ourselves, do our job, not anybody else's, And we're going to give ourselves a chance to compete. And I do believe our guys are physically going to show up ready to play.
All right. Well, let's get it done.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, Suwannee head coach Kyler Hall. And stay tuned. We've got Andy Day. Oh, my. He's going to join us in the booth right after this quick timeout. Suwannee Bulldog football on a Friday night here on RiverCountrySports.com.
Coach's Corner, brought to you by Bean Painting, serving the community for over 30 years. Licensed and insured, family owned and operated. Remember, it hasn't been painted till it's bean painting.
Uh-oh, better call Bennett's. When it comes to glass in this area, folks know to call Bennett's Glass Company. Serving Live Oak and surrounding areas for almost 50 years, their reputation speaks for itself. From commercial to residential, new construction, remodeling, custom glass, auto glass, mirrors. Tell your insurance company you want Bennett's. Bennett's Glass Company on Gold Kiss Boulevard in Live Oak, 386-362-2295. When glass breaks, better call Bennett's.
Hi, my name is Catherine Haney. My grandfather and my dad, Wes Haney, have been selling and servicing Chevrolets in the Suwannee Valley area since 1968.
I'm here with my brothers, Weston and Jonathan. We want to tell you why Wes Haney Chevrolet is the best place to buy a car.
At Wes Haney Chevrolet, it comes down to two things: low prices and excellent customer service. You are a part of the family just as much as we are. Your happiness is my dad's first priority. He will always fight to make sure you get the best deal and the best experience.
My dad doesn't play games and he doesn't charge dealer fees, so we can always get you the best price. We have amazing incentives this month to put together a great deal on any Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. The best built, longest lasting vehicles on the road. We guarantee a better deal and customer experience than you can get anywhere else.
We would love to show you our beautiful selection of new and used vehicles. We are located in Live Oak, Florida on Highway 90 East. I can guarantee our dad will give you the best deal, and we are excited to earn your business.
This is Wes Haney, and as always, no dealer fees, no games. Come see my team at Wes Haney Chevrolet.
All right, hey Bulldog fans, when you're hungry, we can satisfy that appetite at Beef O'Brady's of Live Oak. Come dine with us during, before, or after the ball game. We feature big screen TVs, so you won't miss any of the big events. At Beef O'Brady's, check out our game room featuring pool tables and games for the kids. Stop by Beef O'Brady's for some good food, good sports, and good games.
It's Suwannee Bulldog football on RiverCountrySports.com. Brought to you in part by Wes Haney Chevrolet, Live Oak Jewelry, Rapid Fiber Internet, Bennett's Glass Company, Jeff Tippins Insurance Agency, J&W Automotive, River Oak Technical College, Suwannee Parks and Recreation, Live Oak's UPS Store, Beef O'Brady's, Papa John's Pizza, and Pool Realty. Now to the action. Here's Andy Day and Wayne Luttrell. It's Dog Ball on RiverCountrySports.com.
You're live. All right. Good evening, everybody. We're deep in the jungle here in Lake City, Florida at Columbia High School. It's the battle of the old Oaken Bucket tonight as the Suwannee Bulldogs take on the Columbia High Tigers. Good evening, everybody. I'm Wayne Luttrell, along with the voice of the Bulldogs, Andy Day. And it's been a long time since we've been here. It's been a longer time since Suwannee's tasted victory in this series.
Yeah, it has been a very long time. And the series, as far as numbers, I won't spout them out to you, but it's not looking too good for the old Bulldogs.
No.
But the deal is pretty much, I mean, like we were talking with Coach Pittman a little bit earlier, I mean, we only won one time when we won state championship.
Yep.
So, but those years, 85, 86, 88, 95, 04, and 07, I believe was our last win against the Tigers.
14-7 victory in 2007, last Suwannee win. Columbia leads the series, if my numbers are right here, 64-32, and there have been 3 ties. This rivalry dates back to 1927. The old Oaken Bucket dates back to 1951. And by the way, it's not a bucket, it's a trophy. And that doggone thing is sat in the Columbia High trophy case for a lot of years. I hadn't seen it in so long, I forget what it looks like.
Yeah, well, I actually pulled something up from Columbia High, and I actually did see it, and that might have been the close-up that I've ever seen the thing. So, in the years that I played, we didn't even play Columbia. I think that was the years from maybe 70. I just about forgot the years went by, but not in 76, 75, 74, or 73.
Well, Suwannee hadn't played him for a couple of years. I think 2018 was the last time we played him in the regular year. Dropped him for a few years and played him in the Classic the last 2 years, and now back on the regular season schedule where it belongs. It's been all about the Tigers, though. In the last, since 2004, Columbia leads 13-2 in the series.
Mercy.
And I hear silence out there. I think we're getting ready for the national anthem. I see the NJROTC marching.
They are marching.
Tigers in the last 40 years have owned the series 24-8, so it's been one-sided. We'll take a timeout here, and we'll come right back and continue with our pregame. It's Bulldog football on a Friday night on